Hey everyone, Nate at natestudios.com here to bring you this week's episode of Don't Be a Dumb Fish When It Comes to Safety. This week is on fall prevention. Joining me is my co-host, the Seahorse Merlin. The fish from last week's episode refused to join us today.
So I hear the fish didn't care for the show.
He and the fish are characters from my other show, where the fish is trying to take over the world. Well, let's get into fall prevention, shall we?
Is that a lift? He does know that he can swim, right?
I'm gonna get out of this tank, you watch. No.
Use a barrier if no ground person is available. Check all railings and be sure all doors are closed. Keep hands and feet away from all pinch points. Make sure all safety devices like horns and strobes are properly working. Wear a hard hat when performing overhead work. If your facility requires an overhead work permit, fill it out and post it as instructed. Let's take a look at some of the special circumstances for fall protection. Some places may allow you not to use a harness on a scissor lift. However, OSHA doesn't care. Their rule is to follow the recommendations of the manufacturer. Every single one of the manufacturers recommend to use a harness tied off at the specific points on the lift. Therefore, you have to tie off and wear a harness. Most places have adopted a 4-foot policy, meaning anything over 4 foot requires a harness and being tied off. Do keep in mind, if you pull out a 12-foot ladder, climb all the way up to the ceiling, tie off, and then are able to come down and stand on the floor, you're not protected. You need to make sure you're tied off high enough. I worked in industrial and had to do a lot of climbing. We were required to wear 2 lanyards, so that way we could maintain 100% tie off. We also wore a style called yo-yos. They don't have the long give like the stretch ones. You didn't have to worry about that pull when you landed. That also meant we were tying off outside the lift. You have to be mindful of what you're tying off to. A 3/8 rod barely qualifies as a tie-off point, preferably a 1/2 inch. 1/4 inch is not acceptable. You may even be required to request specific tie-off points be added to the structure. There are a lot of different rules and regulations to fall protection. The 2 worst accidents I ever saw were from falls. I take it very seriously. So please double check the regulations for your facility and don't be afraid to go above and beyond. If somebody makes fun of you, we'll see who's laughing if they're on the ground. Another thing to review when you're going to do high work is how is somebody going to save you? Currently, I think it's somewhere around 28 minutes that you are allowed to hang there. After that, there can be serious damage due to the way the harness is holding you and the way you're held up in the air, where the blood is all pooling at your feet. Newer harnesses and facility rules have foot straps that are in little pockets on the side that you unbuckled and drop. You slide your foot into it and you're able to take the pressure off your back. This allows for an extra 30 minutes of you hanging there. Consider using them if you're in a situation where a rescue could be difficult. That's also another reason why you shouldn't do it alone. There are circumstances where I've not used a ground man, but I was in a facility with 20 other people in the nearby area. Make sure you're not all alone, because if you hang there too long, it's just as bad as falling to the ground. Another safety rule that's a good practice is the type of lanyard you use for the application. I worked at one facility that required you to wear only a 3-foot lanyard if you were inside a boom lift due to the possibility of it flipping you out. There used to be a rumor that it could catapult you out of it, but that's not possible. However, it's very easy to hit bumps and be bounced out of the basket, and a short lanyard could help hold you inside.
I know Mythbusters did a show on it, but I found a video of a dumb fish proving you wrong.
All right, everybody, I got my PPE on, so it's time to go back to work.